everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Helen Anyango, and today we're talking about to-do lists. If you are, like me, the type of person that you have a lot to do, but you do nothing because you're so overwhelmed with the amount of things that you have to do, I've got you. I've got you. So sit down, get comfortable, get a pen or paper. If you're like me, get your phone out and the notes app out and take some notes. So I'm going to look down quite often because I've got a list that I'm reading from. If I didn't have this list, we'll talk about everything and I'll start talking about world peace and corruption and war. So let's stay focused using this list. I'm also folding some clothes that I need to send to charity. This is multitasking today. If you see my hands moving around, just know that's what we're doing. But I just want this to be really chill. There's a lot to learn, but we also need to be relaxed about it. I'm gonna get into why I personally think to-do lists are very important. My relationship with to-do lists has always been this. Never used to use them in the past. Even when I was in uni, I did not use to-do lists, and it just makes sense why studying in uni was so chaotic for me, because it's a lot of independent learning. I literally lose sleep knowing there are people out there who are just going about life with vibes, just get every, like, nothing to guide you, like nothing to let you know this is what needs to be done today and tomorrow and the week after. So I just started by making a list of like, okay, today, this week, this needs to be done. I need to do this. This is the plan, yada, yada, yada. And then I started to tick off things from those lists. Before I get started on why you should use a to-do list and how to stick to one, I just want to share some stats on what the effectiveness of a to-do list. So there was a study done by the University of California, and they found that if you use to-do lists, you're 15 to 20% faster at completing the things that you need to do compared to somebody who doesn't use one. 15 to 20% might not sound like a lot, but it is a lot. 15 to 20% is a huge improvement in terms of like your productivity. So there was a study done, I think it was by LinkedIn survey, and they found that the likelihood of you achieving your goals when you write them down is increased by 42%. If you write down your goals, chances of you achieving them is increased by 42%. 42. If you thought 15 to 20% was small, 42. If that's not enough to move you, then just click off the video right now. This video is not for you. I'm actually going to give you a quick second to just log it off. It's okay. You can go to my other videos. This is not for you. 42%. That's it. Like, sign me up ASAP. And Harvard Business Review also did a survey, and they found that if you use to-do lists, you are you're 30% less likely to spend time in low-valued tasks, and you're 25% more likely to spend time in your high-valued tasks, which is a very important thing. So why are to-do lists important? So number one, you get organized. That's like a no-brainer. You become organized. You can you write down everything. You can see it. It's like a bird's eye view, right? You get a bird's eye view of what you're faced with and what you need to get done. And it just allows you to play around with it. It's obviously very good for time management because you can understand what needs to happen first, what needs to happen next. Better use of your time, like that. It's not rocket science, okay? Of course, it improves your productivity because now there's a clear plan of action of what needs to happen and when it needs to happen by. Also reduces stress. I mean, I will say it reduces stress in a sense of like stress of managing the tasks, because sometimes the tasks themselves are the stress. So sometimes the tasks themselves is the stress, but it just helps you manage it more. So imagine if you have stressful things to do and you have no good way of managing them. Can you imagine the double stress you have to deal with of organizing things, but also the things that needs to get done? So it helps by reducing the stress of managing those tasks. It helps you to track your progress. Am I moving? And it's also really good because you can go, am I really working hard enough? Do I need to put in more time? Do I need to slow down? Because Sometimes that's also key. Like burnout is a real thing. I'll talk about that on a different day because I still have PTSD till today from burning out like 3 years ago. Burnout is the worst thing. I promise you, I'm not even joking. You never, ever, ever, ever want to experience burnout. Never, ever want to experience that. So it's good for progress tracking. You can then make judgment calls on whether you need to do more work or less work. If you don't have a to-do list, you're more likely to burn out. You're more likely to burn out because you always feel like you're not doing enough. You always feel like I could be doing more. You're relaxed. Imagine you just sat there relaxing after you've worked crazy hours outside probably of your working hours. For example, if you have a business, you have a job, you've already worked your 9 to 5, and then on top of that, you've got your business that you're working on. I can guarantee you, even if your business is booming and work is going great, you will always feel like you're not doing enough. And by having a list where you can actually see your achievements reminds you that you are working hard enough. If you don't have a list, I want to promise and guarantee you will burn out. And I'm speaking from experience. Your completed list is your best friend. That's what's going to motivate you to keep going. Prioritize. Now this one is key. There's no point of having a to-do list if you don't implement priority. Prioritization is key. You need to know what comes first and what comes after that. You need to know what's high priority, what's urgent, what's even going to, like, what has the highest return? Like, what is it that is going to bring something back to you? You need to live, and I'm not talking in terms of like business, I'm talking about everyday life. You need to understand what your priorities are. If there's something that needs to be done very soon, in my opinion, I think that should already sit high up on the priority. So your priority list is motivated by what it's going to do for you and the deadlines. If you have something that needs to happen quick, then that's no brainer. That needs to already go up on your priority list. What will surprise you when you do this is sometimes things that you think need to happen ASAP are not the things that need to happen quickly. And I think sometimes we also have a tendency of doing the things that we find easiest or the things that we enjoy the most, but they're not priority. But those things are not priority or are low valued, basically, tasks. So you want to have a list where you have a clear understanding of what should happen first and what should come after that. It helps you to dream bigger. Like once you start seeing that you can do things and you can tick things off a list, it helps you to think, yeah, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. Yeah, I am. What are you saying? That I've ticked off all of these. Of course I can do more. Of course I can now do bigger things. Like it just helps you to stay motivated. It helps with efficiency. Everything that you're doing from the top, from like organization, time management, reduce, like everything that I've mentioned will just make you more efficient. How do you stay consistent? Number one, this is very, very, very important. You need to keep your list very simple. Keep it simple. You don't need to like task one, blah, blah, blah. No, you need to keep it very, very simple because you already know what you want to do. Sometimes what happens is you get lost in the planning. When you don't keep your list simple, you will 100% get lost in planning. It means you will just keep planning. You'll just be a planner. No action, just planning. And I'm speaking from experience, by the way, guys. I'm speaking because this is what I've done and I've learned from that. So you want to keep it very simple. Very, very, very simple. Be realistic, guys. Be realistic. What did I say? Delusion is fine. My life is a delusion. I promise you guys. But you want to be realistic. I'll tell you why being realistic is very important. Because you want to put things that you know, you want to put things on your list that you can actually achieve. What motivates you, what's going to keep you motivated is completing your tasks. So I cannot sit here and be like, my goal is to buy a house by next month. I don't have house buying money. I don't even understand where to buy a house from. I don't even have an idea where I want to live. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't set unrealistic goals. That's how you disappoint yourself. That's how you reinforce to yourself that you can't achieve things. You have to keep it realistic. So for example, today is a Saturday. I want to go for a swim. I also want to take these clothings out to a charity shop. I also want to create a platform. It's like a personal project I'm working on. That list is very simple. Priorities for me would be to go to the charity shop first because they close at a certain time, go to the swimming pool after, and then when I come home, I have the rest of my evening to achieve what I want to achieve. I want to promise you guys simple tasks such as me leaving the house to go to the charity shop, then making it to the swimming pool is so rewarding and so motivating. It sounds really silly, but it's like, imagine if I didn't have a list and I just did those things, it's almost like my brain doesn't recognize it as an achievement. I can't explain it to you, I can't. But if you have it written out somewhere and you tick it off and you're ticking off, there's something in your brain that goes, oh my God, you're such a winner. Oh my God, you're so good at life. Like, it just keeps you motivated. Break down the large tasks to simple daily tasks or weekly tasks, and break it down to achievable things. Have a habit of putting things on there that are really simple to do. So don't ignore things like sending an email. Don't ignore things like I need to make a coffee. Don't ignore things like that. Just put every single thing that you need to do. Put everything that needs to be done, that you want to make sure it's done by the end of the day. List it on there and be ticking things off. Where do you make one? Well, guys, I know you guys are not new to this, and you know that you can easily use a pen and paper to create a to-do list. But who wants to walk? I personally, for me, I'm speaking for myself, Helena Nyango, just for me. Personally, I don't like pen and paper. I personally don't like to do it like that because I won't always have that piece of paper with me everywhere I go. Like, I like, if I'm out and about and I'm like quite excited to take something off my list, or even to refer to a list, I'm not going to pull out. Not for me, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just not going to do that outside, right? My favorite tool to use is the Notes app. The Notes app is the most underrated app on iPhone. It's so useful. You can put images on there. You can put PDFs on there. It's such a useful app. At some point, I was using Google Calendar. Google Calendar is really good actually because you can set time per hour on what you want to do and you can break down your lists in that way. The best thing is it's on your phone. So when you're out and about, you can get reminders on like what to do at a certain time. You can set this up per day. You can do it per week on Google Calendar and you can break it down by the hour. Oh, I love this top. I haven't seen this top in a long time. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to donate this one. I really like it. Anyway, guys, you can also use Trello. Trello is like, now this is the big boys. You're chilling with the big boys. Trello is, again, free, and you can use that to manage projects. It's good if you're like a business. I think if you're a business owner, it's probably the best, but you can use it for anything. Anyone can use it. And it's really good for managing projects. That will make you super efficient. I use that professionally, and I've always used it. I used it for my business. I would recommend starting very small. Start with your Notes app. Go on Google, get a pen and paper. Like, you want to get into the habit of using these tools first before you step into something like Trello. But you could also just go on Trello and start from there. It's really up to you. Now, other tools are Notion. Again, that's very much like project management. Really good for like collaboration and stuff. But yeah, I would recommend as a beginner, you want to keep it very simple. When you have to stay flexible with all of your goals, not just the time with your goals. Allow yourself to make adjustments all the time. Allow yourself to change it. Allow yourself to remove things. Allow yourself to hold things. Like, you have to be very, very flexible because life happens, things change, your mind can change. Like, a list that I made at the start of the year might not apply by the end of Q1. Like, by the end of the first quarter, I'm like, nah, I don't want any of this. I want to do, like, be flexible, and it's okay to be flexible. The most important thing is rewarding yourself. Have a plan where it involves a reward system. So have goals that if you achieve them, you do something for yourself. Rewarding yourself will reinforce the fact that good things happen when you achieve. Do not underestimate the power of having your goals out physically. Do not underestimate the power of completing something off a list and being able to physically say done. Do not underestimate the power of celebrating the little things, the little wins that you have, that you do, the little things that you achieve. And most importantly, reward yourself. Like, you're not just made to work. Like, reward yourself. Do nice things for yourself. Have fun. Like, this is why my channel is pivoting, reinventing, and most importantly, having fun. Like, having lots of fun. As much as you work hard, you have to reward yourself with good things that make you happy. Hopefully this video helps you with a mindset change if you've always used one before. Hopefully it helps you think of to-do lists differently. Hopefully if you've never used one before, it will help you. And let me know how you get on. Let me know if it's making any difference. Add fun things to your list. This is a channel of seriousness and enjoyment, okay? So guys, if you enjoyed that or found it useful, please like, subscribe, and also send it to someone who needs to hear this. Send it to someone who you think will find this useful. And if you find it really, really useful, then add it to your save, add it to your watch later, because I do be sometimes losing videos here myself. So please let me know in the comments where you're at when it comes to to-do lists. Do you find them useful? Have you ever used one? Do you care to use one? All I will say to you is you need to start doing that. Okay, so I'm going to end this here and I'll see you guys in my next video.